All right, so this is the Americas Europe CI/CD UX call for, my goodness, February 23rd, 2022. I'm going to start with some of the announcements and some of the things that I didn't add in the agenda for the APAC call. So I'm going to vocalize that so the girls, in case they watch the recording later on, they can see and hear this update. So Daniel's last day is tomorrow, February 24th. I'll link here the Slack announcement. You can check that out. Also, small update, since Daniel is leaving and he's currently in Brazil, this call is it's at 7 p.m. my time. So I'm going to try to move it up so that I'm not sure how that's going to work for you, Will, for your time zone, but heads up, I'll try to find some time in our calendars so that we can meet a bit earlier on my day, because it's really end of my day here.
Yeah, that works.
Thoughts, concerns? Feel free to voice.
It's like 1 p.m. here for me. So yeah, if you want to move it up, that certainly works.
Yeah, it's the same thing for me. Same time. And I don't mind if it's moved earlier.
Okay, cool. And I'm sorry I didn't hear any of it because my AirPods were connected and not my headphones, but I can assume that you say it was okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
It sounds like Gina and I are in the same time zone.
Okay, cool. Then I'm going to update that later this week. And then standing topic, OKR's progress. I don't think we need to go over those because I already reviewed this with Gina this week, and I'm going to review those with both Nadia and Vitika tomorrow morning. And I already checked in week 80 yesterday, so I know what the latest status update is. And then update for product designers. I'm going to post this in our Slack channel. So we're going to have a new opening for the release designer role. And I want to make sure that our team, our product design team, is able to participate in the interview panels. We don't have anyone in our team right now that is able to lead interviews. So if you haven't done so yet, please start your interview training process. I linked here in the agenda the handbook page. And also once you do that, make sure that you add yourself to the interview shadowing tracker and ping Rupert for approval. And then later on, I will invite you to the, I think it's UX, it's called UX hiring channel. It's a private channel today, but once you're ready to shadow, to take on interviews, let me know so I can add you manually, invite you to this channel. We already talked about these today, but in case you have any other questions for me. Yeah.
No, documentation was pretty clear. So
okay, awesome. And sorry, go ahead.
Voice a question. So I'm already a part of the UX hiring channel. Like, what's the process to get involved with interviews? Do I need to contact Rupert? Or should I probably look in the handbook? What would you recommend?
So you're already in the channel, and have you started or completed your training, the interview training?
I have.
Okay, so if there are open positions for the research team, just mention in the team and let Rupert knows that you are available to either shadow or lead those interviews. And I'm not sure if for research you have a tracker for who has completed the training or who the panel really is. But for product design, usually the designers either let me know or post in this private channel saying that, hey, I'm available for interviews, and loop in Rupert. I think that's the safest bet.
Okay,
yeah.
Thanks.
No problem. So I want to hit loop in Rupert in the Slack channel. Cool. And then my last update, I also reviewed this today with Gina, but I'm going to voice it here for everyone to hear. Hackathons, they're happening. We are midway through the current hackathon, and they are great, but we all know that they often require product designers to spend much more time or sometimes unplanned time reviewing these changes, or sometimes these changes, they come without meeting a source of truth or like an acceptance criteria for a specific issue. When that happens, if an issue is either, if a merge request is written incorrectly, as in the issue, the merge request description, if it's lacking a description, or if the proposal doesn't meet our guidelines, whether that's pajamas or meet not meet, but add value to our product, please look in your PM and EM for next steps. So, my goodness, this is why I don't want calls at 7:30 p.m. because my English vocabulary disappears. But if you see something, pretty much what I'm gonna say is say something, right? We are not in a way forced to move forward with these merge requests as per the code review guidelines. If they don't meet the criteria, we have to loop in the teams and then make a decision around what we want to do with this merge request. Do we want to scope that in a different milestone? Do we want to take over and work on the fix, or do we want to park those? So bring up those issues in the merge request comments, loop in your PMs and EM. And if you approve the UX, awesome. If not, also state that and explain the why in the changes, right? So that's point one. And also, I know that especially for Verify, we have a high volume of merge requests each hackathon, and you're not being asked to take on all these merge request reviews by yourself, right? That's why we have the UX community contributions Slack channel. So please, if you are being looped in a lot of merge requests, or if you have a high volume of things in your pipeline together with milestone work, leave a comment in the UX community contributions channel and say, I need someone to review this, and then drop it there. If you're not getting replies, loop me in. So I'll work with other product managers to find a backup and find someone to review these merge requests. Want to make sure that the review is evenly distributed across all stage groups. So I'll pause now my very confusing monologue to see if I made sense, if you have any questions to me. Coolio. Then last item, friendly reminder that I'm also a pajamas maintainer and I can review your merge requests and also merge them. Now that Jarek's leaving GitLab, I think next week, we're gonna have one less maintainer for pajamas. So reminder, loop me in, assign me to those pajamas and Mars so that I can help merge them and review them as part of the approval flow. That's it. We don't have any updates for Daniel in the agenda, so we can move to your items, Gina.
Okay. I tried to pick out just two of like the most recent things for both the groups. So for Runner, I brought this up in previous calls, but we've had customer meetings with some of our larger enterprise customers. And we've gotten a lot of really valuable feedback from them. But what I haven't done is analyze it and put it in a place for the whole runner team to be able to access and like use it as we create new features for GitLab and then reference it. So I ended up putting those in Dovetail, and I transferred a lot of it to Mural. Just so I could group it better pretty much, and then check off like whether or not these requests that they were asking for have been captured by us in issues, or if we have plans upcoming that will like we'll get features out to satisfy them. So I'm still working on the Mural, but right now what I'm doing is like transferring a lot of that stuff into problem statements and then putting like the related feature requests into each problem statement, because I think I was talking to Pedro and he suggested that from the UX team. And I think that will help my team also be able to know like what all of these features are really bubbling up to and what they'll fix. So that's basically what I'm working on now. Rihanna, do you want to voice your thing?
So before that, I'm gonna ask just does everyone in your team has access to Dovetail? When you say your team, I imagine that you're talking about not only your PM, but the engineers as well.
Yeah, it's the engineers and PM. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome, cool. And then I have a follow-up question. It's awesome that these meetings with the customers are happening today, and I know that you talked a little bit about it in yesterday's UX call. But I just want to hear, how are these sessions going so far, and any learnings or any thoughts that you can share with us?
Yeah, they're going well. It's very difficult to get time with enterprise customers. So I think one thing I found is it's good to have an agenda of things that you would like to discuss. That doesn't always come up, because I think like letting them kind of talk about their pain points and then have them drive, then like, oh, we're thinking of adding this feature based on your pain point. That seemed like the best way to format the call. But also establishing a relationship with TAMs is really important, because I wouldn't have been able to meet with them if not. And Darren like introduced me to the TAM. So that was important as well. Let me think of anything else. One other learning is that you can always, like if you have additional notes that you wanted to get across to the customer that you didn't have time to, you can always tell the TAM, and then they can tell the customer as well, because they seem to continuously be interested in learning what's coming up. And if you're actually going to be like, be satisfying their feature request or not. So yeah, I learned that's helpful too. And just keeping the relationship like active is good.
Yeah, thanks for the overview. Then a follow-up question for you is the customers you talk to. So I'm going to start typing here so I don't forget. The customers you talk to today, are they aware of the handbook pages with the runner direction and the updates? Do you think they are consuming that information today?
They are aware of it, and since we had kind of broken out our runner group into 3 different sections now. So we have like runner fleet, for example, is its own category and has its own vision. Mm-hmm. We brought that up at the beginning of each of those calls so that they're aware, and then they can reference it. So actually, I don't know if they were aware before the call, but we did bring that up.
Awesome. Then that clarifies my follow-up questions. That's good. It's awesome, Gina, that this is happening. We mentioned this in our one-on-one. I know that's something that Darren has been thinking about for a while now, in setting up these calls and involving you, right, and having UX to absorb this information and also help drive the conversation. And I think to your point, yes, having a structure and agenda it's critical there. Otherwise, it might become just a feature request type of call, right? And it's important to link back what they're saying to the jobs to be done and what's next and why, so that can inform also other decisions. So awesome.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's nice to get their direct perspective on the product. Rather than just reading it from an issue.
Yeah, real people and real problems. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my next follow-up question is for Will. How are other teams balancing out this customer requests with the research insights to inform design and product decisions today? Are you aware of any other teams where the product designer is in contact with customers the way that Gina is today? And how is that working from what you know?
Yeah, so I know that some of the other ops teams are fairly involved with this, and some of the teams that I work with on enablement. Just from my light observation, because I'm not super involved with those customer calls, is that they tend to make a template in the PMs will make a template in GitLab. They will write out like an overview. So take a lot of notes to add into that template. And then we'll post it like in a comment of that particular issue. And then I think when it comes to the video recordings, they're fairly good about uploading it to Dovetail, but I haven't really seen some of that next step of like, okay, we've talked to like a couple of different customers. We've found these like observations and maybe opportunities from, 3, 6, 9 of these different calls. Let's translate that into like an actionable insight or something that we actually do something with. That's been harder to grasp if like the PMs are like just integrating that into the backlog of they're coming up with new ideas for features and things, or if that's something that we need to be a little bit more like aware of and kind of connect them to like, hey, let's make an issue, let's come back to this. So I know that was kind of a long drawn out answer to that, but any thoughts?
Yeah, my first question is if you have links to those insights or to those where this is being documented so that we can look at it later on, also to have a reference. So that's point one. And to your point, yes, it can be tricky to separate from just what customers are asking and that problems that really serve their use cases with, I would say, the general insights. I'm seeing that conversation bubbling up in Verify. So going back to my previous questions, if you have examples of where else this is happening, I think it's good for us to see how other teams are solving that, or if the situation is similar. One of the things that might help, at least for us, for UX, is using that actionable insights template. I'm not sure if we have a template or if we have a way today other than in Dovetail of tracking the customer insights. Do you know that, Will? So that we can kind of cross-link things and compare them?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Yeah. There might be an opportunity for you, Gina, and also for designers in Verify that are talking to customers today. So how do we differentiate that? And how do we not only address the need that is an actual real need for these customers, but make sure that we are validating it and have enough insights to support that based on the research that's either done, that's in the backlog, or that is planned. No.
Yeah.
Tricky one.
Yeah. So I actually included a project that looks like Chris did maybe a couple weeks ago. So I hadn't really followed this, but it looks like he did a lot of like tagging and did generate some insights. But this is definitely an area of opportunity where I can connect back with these PMs and see what's actually happening. So I think this is a really good topic that you brought up.
Awesome. And I imagine that they also collect and document additional insights somewhere else, right? Because they have, what is the platform for documenting this customer calls?
So like Chorus?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Okay. And just a additional random thought. I think this also is part of the conversation of, defining the MVC and breaking down the MVC. So we get a lot of we are really influenced from this insights and requests and what we see our competitors doing, et cetera, et cetera. So just a reminder that for product design in general, the MVC is not the big picture, right? The MVC is the smallest thing that we do that can address that customer need and bring value to, of course, our customers, our users, and GitLab. So thinking back of insights versus requests, I think it's important that we are very critical of the UX quality and how scalable the solutions are, right? So not only thinking of looking at the insight and running with it, but how is that impacting the bigger picture, and how is that like a proposal in a sense builds up to the vision. Exactly, broader picture. I was looking for that. Yeah. So I'm going to link here. I want to find a handbook page for iteration. I think rather than a handbook page, there's a recording, I think, where Pedro talks about design iteration, that it's really interesting. And he talks about breaking that down. It might be relevant for our team. So I'm going to add that, Hayana, to you. Link iteration YouTube recording. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, the other, well, actually, before I move on, is there anything else we wanted to say about that? Yay. Thanks for the discussion. The other update I have is for Pipeline Insights, which I'm not sure if I told this group before, but testing is now Pipeline Insights. So you'll see that word being used. Tomorrow we have our first Think Big as our Pipeline Insights group, and it's to discuss artifacts and review apps. And then I talk about performance testing. We did some research on both artifacts, performance testing, and review apps recently, and our teams, like, we have a lot of good ideas, and so we wanted to get together and do a Think Big. There's an async issue that I linked there for the specific things that we'll be brainstorming on. And yeah, and then I'll have some more updates once we're done. That's it for my side.
I think we're over all the way down the agenda to Will's topic.
Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot, but I'm just gonna miss working with Daniel. He's been tremendous to work with and has done a lot of great work in the release space. So I did see that his last day is tomorrow. I have recurring check-ins with Chris and Kevin to talk about release more specifically. And Hayana, I see that you've got a comment here. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So yeah, when talking to Chris and Kevin about the upcoming research needs, please loop me in. And also, I'm not sure if we have a call this week, next week. Yeah, with you, Eric, and I. So let's also talk about that if there is any updates. I forgot to mention that. So once Daniel offboards, I will be the backup for release. So I'll take over all the work until we have a backfill, right? We hire someone new. So I'm going to be more involved in that. So any discussions, Will, that you're having about release, upcoming priorities, please loop me in. So I'll be the deal, right?
Yeah, I can add any things that we talk about to our meeting agenda for next week. I think I'm meeting with Kevin later today.
Yeah, I'm also meeting Gavin tomorrow. So okay. Let me know if there's anything relevant, and then we can catch up, I think.
Okay.
Also, maybe, Will, I think it will be a good idea for us to have here the link for yours and Erica's priority trackers. So that, yeah, just have a standing item so that designers can see and go through these the items and check the updates.
Yeah, I'll add that here, but I can also add that to the, I guess the template is another good place to put it.
Yeah, you can add it here, and then I can update the template description later on.
Yeah, so I just added it.
Thank you. Real. I'm reading Erica's update because I haven't gotten that far in the agenda today. So she say around 7 survey development. Okay, I'll take that async. She's asking about how to get the team to provide feedback on this project. So I think it's a good to do for everyone. We had a chance check Erica's update here in the doc. All right. We're almost at time, but I wanted to ask you, how is this session working for you now that we split it, between APAC and then Americas and Europe? Is there anything about the format that you would change, or is there anything that's working well and what's not working well? Just curious to hear feedback so that we can keep the sessions productive, but also interesting for us.
You're welcome to go first, Gina.
Okay, I think it's great. I think we have more time, honestly, to talk about, since we've split the group up, for all of us to go through our items. I guess, sorry, you're going to hear construction, but I think also having recordings of both of them is helpful because, for example, like I watched the recording of the other one this morning and then already had an understanding of what the other threads were going through. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, for me, it's been good. I don't really have any complaints. Yeah, I could just check the document async. If there's something just for me to look at, but if I need more context, it's always nice that I can just go to the recording and see, like, okay, what other discussions were they having around that particular topic that day.
Yeah, thanks for that. I think for me, Ralph, as a manager, one of the things, for example, now in this call, and now that Daniel will leave, we're gonna have like 2 researchers. Well, if Erica is not joining the APAC session, but then Gina won't have a peer right in the call to provide design feedback. So maybe that's not an issue now, but maybe that's something, Gina, that we want to look into. And of course, these calls are, again, for you to set the agenda in the conversation. But one of the things that I find really helpful is when, we critique or when we see the design proposal and talk about that. So maybe that's something also to bring as a standing agenda so that we can maintain like a design studio atmosphere, right? Looking at each other's work and providing feedback in an open forum. I think that would still be helpful, but it might be challenging now that we split the 2 groups. But it's part of the challenge, I guess.
I think that's a great idea. I can add that as a standing item. I sometimes don't, like, I want to be respectful of other people's time, so I don't always know exactly what to share because I don't want to take up too much time myself. So if we have examples of, I know we have like add something to share, discuss on the next call, but if we have like a specific thing to bring to the call, I think that would help me figure out what to share.
Yeah, that's a good point, because that was one of the challenges, especially when we have like a full meeting with the 5-6 people, that not everyone gets the chance to talk about their items. I think for maybe more diverse groups, we can at least recommend them to bring 1 to 2 important things that they want to discuss and time box that. But yeah, this is, as I say, this is your moment to bring up any items that you want to discuss, and if that's getting feedback on a UI or on a proposal, yeah, that's good. And I think that might be even more valuable than giving updates, right? Because we can read the updates and check that async, but we can use that time to get peer feedback on items, especially on items that overlap. They are shared across different groups. So maybe that's a thought, but again, a challenge for how we can do that with two different groups. Let's see how that goes, and then we can adjust on the fly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Cool. Anything else that you'd like to share that we haven't discussed today? No?
I don't think so.
Cool. Then I'll see you, well, Gina, I think I'll see you tomorrow in the call, not the testing pipeline insights call, and I'll see you next week, Will. Right.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.